We finally got on board the Navigator of the Seas, unloaded our luggage in our cabin, and even did a practice emergency drill as required for our cruise to Cazumel, Mexico. As we readied ourselves for lunch, Barbara asked, "Why aren't we moving yet?" We were already a mile at sea. We departed from Port Everglades in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, then traveled through the Straits of Florida and between the Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean Sea to arrive on the Mexican island. The Windjammer Cafeteria is on Deck 11. We enjoyed the surrounding view and often sat at the table above the propellers. Later I walked around the ship several times on Deck 4. It was 85 degrees in the sea breeze, and a cool air-conditioned 72 inside.
After about a day and a half we approached the island and the island port near very Puerto Maya. We watched from our cabin window as our ship was docking. It was early and the sun was not very bright yet. We took time for breakfast and then more pictures from the upper decks. Thousands of travelers were walking on the docks towards the island. Cazumel is very popular today with 3 cruise ships docked at the same time. The landscape was filled with hotels and businesses of all shapes, and the water was very active with many boats. Here is our ship docked at Cazumel. We departed from Deck 1 and stood between 2 towering ships. I wanted to see the docking cushions, so we crossed the red warning line and attracted the security guard. Finally we walked toward the shops at the other end of the dock.
Near the duty-free, an indigenous feather man was collecting donations. He had an evil-looking mask like a skull. We left the dock area, crossed the street, and walked south. Many shopkeepers wanted us to stop and shop. It was difficult to turn them down. We were surprised to see the 7-Eleven, but we did not go in. If we had rented a scooter or scheduled a tour, we could have traveled further inland. We chose to walk along the avenue near the shore. I am always attracted to my wife because she is full of surprises. The next port over was very picturesque with coconut palms, thatched roof buildings, and flower gardens. We enjoyed the tropical plants and the traditional architecture. Barbara was happy to see the coleus plants, so we took lots of pictures. She has been growing them in our house for several decades. We returned walking north, and passed the dock area again.
We continued north looking for a place to eat. Suddenly sales reps, from the Royal Caribbean Hotel, dragged us into their glass office that overlooked a well-designed hotel beach. It was refreshing to get out of the 90-degree sun. This is a nice view of our ship across the water. Their discount offers did not change our plan to eat. We passed a few more shops to arrive at Ernesto's restaurant. The server and 2 cooks were very kind and humble. We had tasty lemon shrimp with black bean soup and relaxed. Our table was just above the waves splashing the rocks. We had an ideal view of a yellow glass-bottom boat, our ship across the port, and a parasailer in the distance. After lunch Barbara told me the story of the seaside grape tree. She remembered in Georgetown, Guyana, after we walked a little further and found one such tree here in Cazumel.
See the purplish, pinkish one, that's when it's getting ripe. So
What are they called, Barbara?
seaside grapes.
Seaside grapes.
Again, there's something else here. There's another tree. So the seaside grape is this leaf. This leaf. But the long leaf is a different, they're 2 different plants. This one, see, with a thick trunk, this is a seaside grape. And it's leaf, but this one here is different. It looks something like one. See the fruit here? Can you see it right there?
Oh, yeah. It's like an
We had one of these trees in our room. The trunk was so huge.
You climbed up on it when you were a child?
We didn't have to climb, it was just there where you could just go sit on it.
I see.
See how it's this way? That's that's how it was in our yard. It was like this and then this. So you could sit on it, you could climb on it. Oh, this is nice. This is nice.
It's nice.
The seaside grape tree is to the right of this big thatched roof building. On our walk back to the ship we declined services from this carriage driver and some vendors. This is a magnificent view of our ship. My lovely wife, however, is more interesting. We discovered some aloe vera along the dock as we returned to our ship. Back on board and in the cool air conditioning it begins to rain around the island. I took some parting shots and noticed, the port area is under construction, the island is very flat without a single mountain and, the water is very clear. Someone took our picture while the boat was still docked. See the red building across the port? That is the restaurant where we had lunch.
We watched the lights of San Miguel and Cazumel fade away, as we dressed for dinner. We were interrupted by a hurried photographer in the dinner hall, that spans 3 decks. Later along the central promenade, we met the ship's captain Frank Martinson and enjoyed some live music. The next day, we browsed some of the onboard sports activities. We chose to attend the Flow Rider water sport event. If you can master it, then you can wow the audience with lots of smooth turns. First timers usually fall a few times before they can even stand up. Our ride was touch and go, but remained vertical.
My wife had some onboard classes pre-scheduled, so I spent the day discovering the many hidden treasures throughout the Navigator of the Seas. I was happy to find the bridge perched on the 12th deck above the exercise gym. They have many controls and consoles, an administration center, the voyage management system and the automatic radar plotting system, the satellite positioning system and the dynamic positioning system, and of course the pilot chairs and the bridge diagram. We have now entered the hollow deck, programmed as a full-service exercise gym. Many of the crew members and travelers use the hollow deck for stress relief from their many challenges when encountering new worlds throughout this quadrant of the universe. People of all shapes and sizes take advantage of this hollow deck gym for stress relief. The hot tub directly in the center is a nice touch by the programmer. Another surprising discovery was our ship passing by Cuba to our south. On the way to Cazumel, I did not see these mountains, perhaps because it was dark. These mountains are Cuba's western mountain ranges called the Sierra del Rosario and the Sierra de los Órganos. They are located within the Pinar del Rio province. Many of the vacationers like to keep very active, even in the 90-degree sun. Dance exercising is popular today near these many swimming pools.
There may be some singles enjoying the cruise, but here are many families, many children and many couples who are swimming, dancing, exercising, and rock climbing. The last discovery was a room full of framed art. They were all part of an auction for interested travelers. Many were more on the wild side for my taste. There may have been almost 1,000 frames, and all different styles. Our grandmother, Celia Weir, has already given us many paintings, hanging in our house. This was the last day and our tour group had planned a masquerade party, so we dressed in our fanciest clothes. While the ship was plowing rapidly through the water, we danced under the colorful moving lights on a crowded dance floor wearing the masks we were given. It looked frightful, but we had a good time. Finally we returned to Port Everglades, in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. We passed by the Bahamas, We docked, early in the morning again, but had to wait for immigration agents to prepare for all 3,000 of us. We had a big lunch, took more pictures and watched a cargo ship leave. We had an amazing trip I will never forget.